America? Did you wake up this morning and read about what's going on with the dollar? Yeah, probably not. I mean, if you still get the news from the newspaper, then, especially if you get the news from an American newspaper, then you definitely didn't read what was going on with the dollar. You know, if you only get the paper, you probably, well, I'm guessing you know the name of all of David Letterman's interns, and the latest with John and Kate +8, but the demise of the American dollar? Please. Didn't you hear they arrested Aaron Andrew Stalker? Why would we waste time talking about the dollar? We've got plenty of them. Here's why. Because whenever I ask people how it is that they can possibly believe that we can sustain the out-of-control spending and foreign debt that we have, they always respond exactly the same way. Oh, you're such a worrywart. We're going to be fine. America just will. We've, mounted problems bigger than this one. We're America. Okay, that's nice optimism, but what are you basing it on besides we're America? I'm sure you're going to be a favorite with Lindsey Graham. He's optimistic about stuff as well. But that doesn't really provide comfort after what I read in The Independent on the demise of the dollar. That was the headline of the story. That's a UK paper, by the way. They claim that Arab states have launched secret moves with China, Russia, and France to stop using U.S. currency for oil trading. They plan instead to move towards a basket of currencies. Ooh, that sounds inclusive, doesn't it? I mean, are there sandwiches in it? The basket includes the euro, the yen, the pound sterling, the Canadian dollar, the Swedish crown, and the Swiss franc. There seems to be, something missing there. What do you say? Now, just so you know, the Saudi central bank governor denies the secret talks took place. In fact, they said, at this time, there's absolutely no reason to move away from the dollar. We have no plans. So I'm sure we can all assume that the dollar is here to stay and everything is just peachy. But in the off chance that maybe somebody in the Middle East wouldn't tell us exactly the truth, that they're not exactly 100% reliable, maybe we should discover what it means for our dollar and our country if it's no longer pegged to oil. What does that mean for you? Well, everybody, let me show you this. Long time ago, back after the World War, in fact, during World War I, it started, America had a whole bunch of gold. Everybody had gold, okay? But they were borrowing money from us because they were fighting the war. So we said, you know what? Why don't you just give us some gold? Now, after World War II, we officially went to the gold standard for the U.S. And we said, you know what? There's just not enough gold for everybody. Why don't you just use the dollar? And what we'll do is we'll give you guys an equal amount of money, so everybody has currency, U.S. dollars. It's fantastic. And we'll keep all the gold, and we promise we're never going to trash our dollar. We never do that to you guys because we love you, and we're trustworthy. Got it? So everybody gave us the gold. We still had a nice stack of cash here and gold. You're over here. You don't have any gold, right? This is you. This is you. This is your savings. How much did you lose if you had any money in your 401k? Did you lose, let's say, 40% of it? So that's gone. Now, did you know that the dollar has lost nearly 29% of its value in the last 7 years? 29%. All right. That's gone. Just gone. 9% of that drop was in the last 6 months alone. You now only have this much left. Now, you compare that to the basket of currencies. Oh, that nice basket that they're talking about. I love this. In the last 6 months on these currencies, it's lost 19% to the Australian dollar, 13% to the Canadian dollar. Do you remember when the Canadian dollar was a joke? 12% to the Japanese yen. How come you haven't heard about all of this? How come you haven't heard that while you were sleeping, first they came for your 401k and then they just came for your dollars? Well, most people haven't minded all that much. Our attitude has been, well, the dollar goes down, we'll be able to make more because, well, we'll be able to sell our goods. It's good for business. And we'll be able to make more stuff and sell to more people. Yeah. Well, here's what's happening. Now the rest of the world, see, oil is only traded in dollars. That's it. You can only buy oil with dollars. Well, if we go to the basket of currencies, they get the end of the dollar. Well, they don't need all of this. Already, China is divesting themselves of the dollar. They're just throwing this over here. They're just getting rid of those because what they're doing is they're buying up all kinds of stuff. They're buying up land. They're buying up minerals. They're buying up oil wells, all kinds of stuff. So they're getting rid of it. And everybody else, well, if the Gulf states get their way, well, they're just going to push all these dollars over to here. And they'll just trade in the basket of currencies, which, by the way, doesn't include the dollar. What does that mean? Oh, that means we have more money. That'll be great. Look at all the money we have. Yeah, except if we have all of this money flooding the world, your little stack, where did your little stack go? Your little stack is now worth about that much. Congratulations. Oh, but by the way, don't worry about it, because we can just print more of this. It's called monetizing our debt. Hyperinflation. This is why you don't do what we're doing. You keep printing money, and there's no stopping. Why is there no stopping? Because the people in Congress don't have a spine. The government thinks, including the president and the last president, thinks you'll freak out if we say, we've got to cut back on our spending. You're not going to be able to have as much. We've got to do the responsible thing. They don't think you're capable of understanding that. They don't think you're capable of doing the hard things. I'm sorry. But if you're one of those people who think America will just always be there because we're America, let me make one thing very, very clear to you. America can fail without vigilance. It is possible. Yeah. Wasn't it only back in January that we had a United States Congressman, Paul Kanjorski, say that America was 3 hours away from a complete economic and political collapse that would bring about martial law? I mean, I don't know if he was right on that one, but is it possible that it could happen? Let me ask you this. Do you remember what it felt? Close your eyes for a second. Do you remember what it felt like on September 11th? Do you remember how fragile this country felt? And we all thought, oh my gosh, it could be over tomorrow. Are you honestly telling me that you believe that this country is in better shape financially now than we were on September 9th, 2001? If you do, you're living in fantasy land. I mean, I expect tattoos. The plane! It can fail easily. The strongest can fail. Have you ever been to the Redwood Forest? In the Redwood Forest in California, these gigantic trees, they stand for hundreds and hundreds of years. They can withstand great storms and fires and earthquake. If you've never been to these forests, you have to go. They're unbelievable. Almost nothing can take them down. But there is something that can and has, something very small, very tiny, a little beetle. They get inside of the trees, and they start infecting. And little by little, they just continue to eat and consume, and they weaken the trees. And before you know it, the trees begin to fall. What mighty winds and storms and earthquakes and fires couldn't take down, a tiny little beetle can. From the inside, our society, our government, our financial and business system is infested with tiny beetles. It's called corruption. It's called me. Lindsey Graham said, and God bless him, he said that I'm a pessimist. No, I'm not. I think America's best days are ahead of us, but he doesn't think that. He thinks that I believe her best days are behind her. He said he doesn't listen to pessimists.
You can listen to them if you like. I choose not to because, quite frankly, I don't want to go down the road of thinking our best days are behind us.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think I do? You know, there are people who watch this show and say, oh, yeah, well, he's just a TV. He's just doing it for ratings. I believed in Ronald Reagan. Pessimism doesn't work with the American people. You think I want to believe it? As a dad, do you think I want to believe these things, that I want to believe that we're going to go into hyperinflation, that the country could financially collapse? Let me make this clear to you. I'm not a pessimist. If I was a pessimist, if I believed these things and I was a pessimist, I wouldn't be living in New York City. I mean, they're going to be eating each other in this city. Things collapse, not going to be pretty here. I'd be living on a farm someplace far, far away from New York City. I am an optimist. Let me take that back. I am a realist. We must recognize that the system we have is infested with beetles. It's got a disease. It has a cancer.